Hello guys, so welcome back once again on my channel. Today I'll be learning how to draft a cowl neckline with a crisscross back. So that's all for today without wasting much of our time. So let's get started. As you can see on my table, I have my pattern paper I'll be using to draft this particular tutorial. So first of all, I'll go ahead and mark out my starting line or my shoulder line. That is what I'm doing right now in the video. I'll first of all mark it out. So from there, actually I'll be drafting both the back and the front pattern on the same paper. So I'm marking out what I'm doing right now. I'm marking out the zip line, 1 inch for my zipper allowance. That is what I'm doing right now. Remember, like I said, both the front and back pattern, I'll be drafting it on the same paper. So now after that, you determine your dress length, then you mark your from the shoulder line, you divide your shoulder measurement by 2. We are going to draft our basic dress pattern. That's what we are doing. So first of all, this is my chest line, my bust point, my waistline. Then I went ahead and marked my under bust measurements as well as my hip measurements, my hip line. So that is what you see me labeling now. So after that, I'll go ahead from the armhole line. I'll come down by half an inch, then I slanted it into the center part of my pattern. So I went ahead and I placed my neckline. Actually, we don't need this neckline, but we need it for a guide. So after that, like I'm trying to draft a basic dress pattern. So this is my armhole curve. This is for the front armhole curve. So after that, I'll go ahead and input my measurements. So my chest measurement, under bust measurement, waist measurement, and the hip measurement. So this is what I have now. So after which I'll go ahead and connect all the lines together. So now you divide all your measurements circumference by 4. After which you go ahead and connect. So now remember, like I said, I'm drafting both the front and back on the same pattern paper. So after that, the next thing is to cut it out. Remember, it's a cowl neckline dress with a crisscross bar. We don't actually need this neckline. We just for a guide, so we don't really need it. So for us to cut out our dress, I will go ahead and trim off the front armhole. After which I will be folding from the chest line. I'll go ahead and fold you can decide to cut it out. So because like I said earlier, we don't really need that upper part from the chest line. So I'll place it on my fabric. I fold my fabric into 2. So minus my chest line and down to my dress length. As you can see, my pattern paper is not up to my dress length. So I've added extra allowance down there. If you can remember, while drafting the pattern, I didn't add allowance. So that is what I'm doing. I'm adding my 1-inch sewing allowance. You can decide to add it on the paper. So after that, so this is it for the back. I folded from the chest line down to your dress length. So this is what I have here. So minus my chest line, I'll go ahead and determine how low I want the back to be. So from the chest line, I marked 12 inches. My chest line is 8. So I came down, I mark it down to 12. So you determine how you want it. So after which you go ahead and cut it out. So this is for the back pattern. So I'll open up the zipper. This is the zipper allowance. After which I will set it aside. So this is for the back. So for us to draft the front now, from the chest, for my shoulder line, I came down by half an inch. and I make a straight line. You can decide to cut it out at this point. As you see me doing in the video, I'm trying to eliminate the zipper allowance because we are done cutting the back. So we're going to fold it in, or you cut it, you can decide to cut it out. So from after that, from my chest line, I'll go ahead and open it. I'll cut it, but don't cut it through. I didn't cut everything through, so I folded my fabric into two. So I placed my pattern. So you can see I opened it up by 5 inches. I have 5 inches. You can decide to open more or less. So I'm trying to pin it so it doesn't move around. So after which you go ahead and add your sewing allowance. Like I said, I didn't add it while drafting the pattern on the paper. So I'm trying to get the armhole. So after which I will make a straight line. So this is what I have. I'll go ahead and remove my pins. You can decide to open as wide, but the more you open, the more drapey or fall it will be. So after that, I'll go ahead and cut it out. This is what I have for the front. You can see this will serve as the cowl. So the next thing is to cut the interfacing I'll be using. After cutting the interfacing for both front and back, I went ahead and cut out stripes I'll be using for my Criss Cross. So I'm trying to pin the interfacing. So this is I have about 1.5 inches wide. So for the length, you can go ahead and measure it. So now you can see I've already attached my stripe. From the zip, after pinning the zipper allowance, I marked 4 inches. So that is where I placed my stripe. This is for the back. So after that, we are going to make a crisscross. You are going to cross it. But first of all, you measure the length of the stripe you'll be using. So after measuring it, you're going to mark that part. You can see me doing the video. So I'm marking it with a chalk so that we know exactly where. So you can see that the rest I'll be cutting it out. So I'm trying to make the crisscross here. So for the front, you're going to be placing it at the end, at the armpit area, as you see me doing in the video. So after making a crisscross, you're going to be attaching it. You can see I turn it to the wrong side and I'll pin it. So I'll do the same thing at the other end. You can see in between the interfacing and the main fabric. So I pin it down. So after that, I'll go ahead and sew it. After sewing it, I'll also sew the armhole area. You can see I'll do the same thing on both sides. Okay guys, so I later on decided to make something different. So as you can see, I later got another stripes. I want to play with my design. So this, I'll be attaching a different stripe. You can see me doing in the video. For this stripe, the other first stripe I added, that one will serve as the crisscross at the back. Why this one, you can decide to tie it on your neckline. It's totally optional. I just decided to play with my fabric. So this second one, I'll be tying it on my neck. So guys, that is it for this tutorial. You can see it's very, very simple. After which I'll go ahead and sew it. After sewing it, so I went ahead and pinned the dress. You can see the crisscross, and you can see these stripes. You can tie it around the neck, at the neck. So after which I'll go ahead and pin it. Remember we added 1 inch of sewing allowance. So after pinning, I'll go straight to my sewing machine and I'll sew it down with the sewing allowance we added. So after that, guys, the dress is super ready. Very easy, simple. You can make it in less than few minutes. So you pin it on the, you can see this is the chest line. So pin them together. So after this, now go ahead and sew it, then boom, our dress is ready. So guys, this is super easy. Our cowl neckline dress with a crisscross back. So the down part, I decided to leave some opening to enable me for easy movement. So after sewing, you go ahead and finish the bottom line, you hem it. Then that's the end. So now you can see this is the outcome of our dress. This is the outcome. Our dress is ready. This is the back. Okay. So this is the crisscross back, and this is the stripe you can tie. You can decide to. Thank you so much, guys, for joining me on this tutorial. See you in my next video. Bye.